Snow had fallen overnight, softening Hamburg into something almost forgiving. The Ulster lay still beneath a pale December sky, and church bells drifted through the cold like breath. I stood in the kitchen in my socks, listening to the kettle hiss, thinking how rare it was for the city to feel this quiet. Christmas morning had always done that. Paused the machinery of life, forced people into reflection, whether they wanted it or not. I was 42, married for 12 years, and until that morning, I believed my life was intact. The tree in the living room leaned slightly to the left, as it always did. Anna insisted it gave it character. The ornaments were a chronology of our marriage. A glass angel from our first Christmas together in Lübeck. A crooked wooden reindeer our son Jonas made in kindergarten. A porcelain bell from Vienna after my father's funeral. I was pouring coffee when I heard Anna's voice from the hallway, low and intimate, carrying through the half-open door. "I told you," she whispered. "Not today. He's here." I froze. There was a pause, then a man's voice, distorted slightly by distance and the phone speaker. "You said that last year." Anna exhaled, sharp. "This is different. Christmas is complicated." My hand tightened around the mug. "He's here. Last year." The words slid into me, slow and poisonous. "You promised," the voice said. "After your mother." "Don't," Anna hissed. "Just don't. I'll call you later." The line went dead. I stood there long enough for the coffee to go cold, my reflection staring back at me from the black surface. When Anna came into the kitchen, she smiled like nothing had happened. She wore the blue sweater I'd bought her in Copenhagen, the one she said made her feel calm. "Merry Christmas," she said, kissing my cheek. I tasted lies. The day unfolded with brutal normalcy. Jonas tore through his presents with the focused joy of a 9-year-old, oblivious to the way my chest felt hollowed out. Anna laughed at the right moments, touched my arm, played her role perfectly. I watched her the way one watches a stranger on a train, searching for tells, for cracks. Revenge didn't come to me then, only memory. My family had been built on silence. My father, Heinrich Keller, had been a respected civil engineer, known for restoring historic bridges across northern Germany. He had also been unfaithful, meticulous in his betrayals. My mother knew. She always knew. She died knowing, too, of a stroke in a hospital room that smelled of antiseptic and regret. Afterward, my father remarried within a year, as if grief were a schedule he could manage. I had sworn I would be different. That night, while Anna slept beside me, I stared at the ceiling and listened to the city breathe. Somewhere beyond the frost-laced window, a man existed who knew my wife in ways I didn't. The thought didn't ignite rage. It sparked resolve. I began quietly. Phones reveal themselves to those who wait. Emails leave patterns. Over the next weeks, I learned his name. Lucas Brandner, 46, married, a partner at a logistics firm that worked closely with the port. They'd met through Anna's charity board, fundraising for refugee housing, something that had made me proud of her once. The affair had been going on for 3 years. I learned other things too. Lucas was ambitious, anxious about aging out of relevance. His wife, Sabine, was a violinist who had given up her career to raise their twins. Anna had comforted Lucas during the illness and death of his mother. Grief had been their excuse, intimacy their anesthetic. I told no one. Not my sister Clara in Bremen, not my colleagues at the architecture firm, not even myself, fully. Instead, I constructed a parallel life of observation. I mapped routines, I memorized lies. Anna sensed the shift before she understood it. "You're distant," she said one evening in March, as rain streaked the windows and the city smelled of wet stone. Did I do something? I looked at her, at the woman I had loved through miscarriages, job losses, the long erosion of time. We all do things, I said. Sometimes we don't realize the cost until later. She flinched just slightly. Enough. Revenge, I decided, would not be loud. It would be structural, like my father's bridges, collapse caused not by force, but by hidden corrosion. I started with truth, delivered selectively. Sabine learned first. I invited her for coffee near the Elbphilharmonie, under the pretense of discussing a donation Anna had mentioned. I told her calmly, with evidence. She listened without crying, her hand steady around the cup. "Thank you," she said when I finished, "for not letting me be the fool." Then I moved on. Through contacts at the Port Authority, I learned of Lucas's questionable accounting, minor enough to be ignored, significant enough to destroy him if exposed. I fed the information, anonymously, to the right journalist at Der Spiegel. Not accusations, just questions. The article came out in late September. Lucas's firm suspended him pending investigation. His marriage imploded publicly, painfully. Anna watched the news in silence that night, her face pale. "It's terrible," she said. "For Sabine. For the children." "Yes," I replied. "Terrible." She confessed 2 weeks later, unable to bear the weight alone. We sat across from each other at the kitchen table, autumn leaves skittering outside like restless thoughts. "I was lonely," she said. "I never meant for it to." I raised a hand. "I know." "You do?" "I've known since Christmas." Her eyes filled, then hardened. "Then why didn't you say anything?" "Because," I said, "I wanted to understand what kind of person you were before, deciding what kind of person I needed to be." The divorce was efficient, civilized. Hamburg respects order. We sold the apartment overlooking the canal. Jonas stayed with me during the week, with Anna on weekends. He adapted with a resilience that both relieved and wounded me. On the first Christmas alone, snow fell again. I stood by a smaller tree in a quieter flat. The city hushed as if in apology. Jonas slept, dreaming of things unbroken. I thought of my father, of my mother's silence, of the inheritance we pass without meaning to. Revenge had not restored my marriage. It had not healed the past. But it had ended a lie, cleanly, deliberately. Outside, church bells rang. I poured myself coffee, black and honest, and let the quiet settle, no longer forgiving, but finally true.